Good morning. I was doing a little reflection. When you're older and retired, you have time for reflection. When I was young and actively involved in my career and raising a family and that, I had no time. But I'm talking about this now because COVID has enforced a little bit of forced reflection time on us. It's slowed us down, and we maybe have time to think a little bit towards the future. So I wanted to describe what I was feeling. I was thinking about the movie Saving Private Ryan. And that's a World War II movie after D-Day where 8 men are given the mission to go behind enemy lines and extract this young soldier whose brothers have all been killed, and he's the sole surviving member of his family, so they want to get him out of there. And there is a moral and ethical dilemma associated with that, and that is it worthwhile and correct to risk 8 people to save 1 person? And initially you think, well, no, that math doesn't add up. But as the movie progresses, you find out that these men under Tom Hanks, and he had a lot of men that died under his command, were given the very most difficult assignments and the most dangerous ones. And those missions, ended up with a lot of people dying, and the war was young, just D-Day, and more war ahead of them. And you get the realization that these men are probably already going to die. And they probably know it. But they're talking about it a little bit. And the sergeant talks to Tom Hanks, and he says, maybe if we could go in there and do this goodness and bring this boy out to his mother, maybe there's enough goodness there that it'll spill over onto us, and maybe that's good enough for us to get home too. So they commit to the mission. Also, Tom Hanks, you see his hands shaking. So you realize that he has a medical problem that's probably going to shorten his life anyway. So they go on the mission, and they have their trials and tribulations, and they capture that one German guy, and Tom Hanks, in a noble gesture and is tired of people dying, he elects to let that guy go, only to have him return at the end of the film, killing several of these guys in the process. So that makes you a little bit angry, that everything was wasted. But they chose to buy this boy's life with their lives. And so when you think about it, that the movie makes sense in that aspect of it, and you don't feel too bad because their fates were probably predetermined. What I think about, though, is we're all dying. We're all going to die. Some of us sooner than others, months, weeks, years, decades, multiple decades, but we are going to die. And I think the moral and ethical question comes out of Saving Private Ryan right to us to ask us the question, what are you going to buy with your life? In the time that you have on earth, what are you going to purchase with that time? Now, as people get older, you often think, they seem to get more angry, and I wonder if part of it is you don't start thinking about that question until you are older and until all of the chances to change your pathway are pretty well gone. And then maybe when you ask that question, what have I accomplished, or have I accomplished anything, you don't like the answer. And that answer makes you mad, like you've wasted your life. But I am given comfort by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci, on his deathbed, was quoted as saying, "Is anything I've done mattered for anything?" And I'm astounded. Here we have the Renaissance man, the greatest person the human race has ever produced, or at least one of the greatest, accomplished at a genius level in painting and sculpture and architecture and design and inventions and everything. And he accomplishes all of these things in his life, yet when he's on his bed looking back, he asks that question. Has any of that mattered? Have I accomplished anything? And what I think is that every human being on the planet, when they are lying in a similar circumstance, asks the same question. Have I mattered? Have I contributed? Have I made a difference in any way? And my point in bringing this up is we have a lull now. We have a reboot in our economy, and the reboot in our economy is not going to be including China very much in this. We're going to be going to Mexico and other places for our supply chains. And we have the chance to reboot our lives. And it doesn't have to be a major change, but a slight change made at this time can pay huge dividends down the road. I was lucky enough to save a man's life once. I'll tell you that story some other time. But it at least gives me a sense that, you know, whether I have accomplished anything or not, I have allowed this guy to do what he would do and his family to do what they might do and given them the chance. So I feel lucky in that, but not everybody is lucky. But I think we need to take this lull, this opportunity, to think about those things, see what direction we are going, and maybe now with the new awareness of what's important, you know, maybe change that direction a little bit, and in the process we become a more fulfilled human. So that's what I was thinking about. Maybe you could think about it a little bit too. We'll think about some other things later on.